All right, we're go time. I love that we are always an intimate group on these. It gives us a better opportunity to like go back and forth, sharpen each other's skill sets, etc. This particular topic, I wish we could show from the rooftops and have 1,000 people on the call because you're going to see some consistency in today's topic of what we talked about in the past. But always try to leave you with some takeaways that are just indispensable, and I think you will find great value in today's topic. I literally spent, I'm not exaggerating, I literally spent 3 hours going through different topics that we could talk about, different, takeaways, etc. And this is where I landed. So you guys let me know what you think. And here we go. All right. So Ryan, you're going to love this. And this is a nod to Ryan as well. So today's topic is called the Optimist Advantage. And I would say that, yes, sir. And I would say that Ryan is an optimist. That's why I said nod to Ryan here. The market is such that positive people are attracting more business in real estate right now. And so what I want to actually talk on is specifically what are they doing? And specifically, this is not like, oh, I was born as a negative person or I was born as a positive person. No, this is a choice that we're making every single day on how we want to be, how we want to act, how we want to say things, etc. And then I'm going to give us some takeaways they'll matter in your business as well. Okay. All right. So the core thesis essentially is that in uncertain markets, people are drawn towards certainty, confidence, and hope. So optimistic professionals tend to attract more trust, calm clients, create momentum, build stronger relationships, and ultimately they're winning more business. So what are they doing specifically that makes them stand out? That's what we're going to dive into, okay? Again, this is a 15-minute presentation. This is going to be finished exactly at 2:18 because we started at 2:03. And then we'll just open it up for some discussion, help each other, and move on with our day. All right. Have you noticed that every industry has two groups of people? Every industry, and I would even add every classroom, every group, organization, place of worship, there are two groups of people. The people constantly explaining why nothing works, and the people quietly building momentum anyways. When I read this for the first time, it actually cut like a knife. There are two groups of people. There are two groups of people. The people constantly explaining why nothing works, and the people quietly building momentum anyway. In real estate, optimism is not just personality, it's a business advantage. Consumers are bombarded with recession fears, interest rate anxiety, housing deadlines, social media negativity, financial stress. Most professionals are unintentionally amplifying that fear. So think about the noise that you're making right now. Can you acknowledge that you've potentially amplified that fear? Here's the key point. People do not naturally move towards panic. You guys get that, and ladies get that. People are not going to move towards panic. They move towards confidence. Clients rarely look for the most anxious person in the room. And I would even say, think about a dinner party. Think about any group setting that you've ever walked into. The person that's the most anxious in the room, do you walk towards that person hoping to spend the most amount of time with that person to make you feel better? No, that person is generally excluded, isolated, on their own. Maybe someone comes over to give them a hug, but certainly they're not the person that you're walking towards to make your own situation or your own day feel better. So optimists create energy, and people enjoy being around hopeful, encouraging, confident people. By the way, I'm saying this to me more than I'm saying this to anybody else. People enjoy being around hopeful, encouraging, confident people. And energy matters in sales. Optimists build trust. So here, let me clarify something too. Trust does not mean that you are pretending or lying or being dishonest about current conditions. It's just believing that solutions exist. Isn't that beautiful? Like, what a great line. We are just people that believe there are solutions that exist. So yes, there's some harder things in our marketplace right now. There's higher interest rates. There's days on market are growing. Inventory is exploding at a high level, but solutions exist. That's the difference. We are focusing on opportunities and we are helping people move forward. So optimism is not ignoring problems. We're not people that are just walking around pretending like everything's amazing all the time. And no, we're not ignoring the fact that there are real problems. We're believing that these problems can be solved. That's the key takeaway that I got from this entire topic, is that we're just people that believe that problems can be solved. And after this presentation, I would love to talk about the financial gap between sellers and buyers, because that's a problem that can be solved, and we'll flush that out after this topic. All right, so negative people are people that hesitate, they overanalyze, they freeze, and they quietly disappear. So, and by the way, I'm guilty of some of these. So I'll say that again. Negative people hesitate, they overanalyze, they freeze, and they just quietly disappear. Whereas optimistic people, they follow up, they market consistently, they network, they create content, they stay visible. I wish Joshua Wall was on this call. We all know Joshua Wall, right? Big afro, lovable guy. Do we feel like he is an optimist or a negative person? He is an optimist. And I think we all agree with that, right? So think about this. 100% he's an optimist. And every year he's going to have a great year. Doesn't matter if it's, doomsday or if it's COVID, best real estate year of a century. He's going to have a great year. So let me read these items off again and think about Joshua Wall. Follow up, market consistently, network, create content, stay visible. And then the optimist becomes memorable. So in a room of complaints, cynicism, stress, you are literally encouraging people and you stand out immediately. So encouraging people stand out when everyone else is cynical, stress-filled and complaining. So here's how optimism actually affects your business. And this is the takeaway. Do people want to refer people that are always joyful, that are always talking about solution-based execution versus cynicism, complaining, and stress? Obviously, that's a no-brainer. Okay, so referrals would be your first and biggest takeaway for how this will affect my business. Second would be client confidence. People are more confident when you have a solution and you have a positive, joyful way of going about that solution. The leadership, negotiations, networking, recruiting, and brand perception are all elevated when you are the optimist. So let me read that list again for you. Referrals, we understand, no brainer, right? You're going to refer the positive person. Think about the last person you referred to anybody. If you referred a plumber, or if you referred a mortgage broker, if you referred a roofer, if the guy walks around like Eeyore all day and he's pissed off or she's pissed off and completely brings a negative vibe, we tend to not refer those people. Or at the very best, we go, I'm going to send you to Bob. He's a bit of a, he's got a bit of a sharp edge on him, but he does a good job. So just keep that in mind. You're referring them with this huge preface. It's I'm going to send him to you. I wish I had someone else I could send to you, but he's just who comes to mind right now. That's how little we want to refer the negative person. The optimists, we're like, oh, you're going to love this guy. He's amazing. And you can't wait to send the contact info, because by meeting your referral, it makes you look better. This person meets your referral and immediately goes, oh, Scott sent me an amazing person. That was an amazing referral. Now I like Scott even more. Okay, that's the difference. All right, so then we've got client confidence, leadership, negotiations, networking, recruiting, and brand perception. It affects all of those things. The key point is people refer professionals who make them feel better about the future. Not about themselves, feel better about the future. So are we going to get this household? Yes, we're going to get this household. I have a solution for you. I have a problem-solving solution, and I'm going to explain it to you. Versus, it's a really bad market. I don't really think we have a chance of selling your home today. Or we're one of 50 houses on the market right now. Okay, you're identifying a problem, but is there a solution on top of the problem? Okay, so I want to clarify. It's not about fake positivity. That's my most important point on the negative side, or on the tempering side. This is not about fake positivity, because that we can see that a mile away. And those people that are are fake and they're positive, but it's fake. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about like denial or unrealistic hype. I'm talking about authentic optimism, a solution-based positive person. That is who we want to be. This is about constructive thinking, resilience, opportunity-focused leadership, solution-oriented conversations. You notice that hermeneutic throughout this topic is that you always have to be solution-based with your positivity. There has to be a positive outcome that you're going towards. Can't just be like, everything's amazing, I'm having a great day, everything's great. That's a very good start, by the way. And I would say probably one of the reasons I love Ryan Campbell so much is like he literally is a very positive, optimistic person.
I was
he's also somebody
you just did an impression of me right there.
No, but you're also a solution-based person. And so that's the difference is like, if it was just like, it's an amazing day, I love my life, it's, you know, sun is shining, that's fine. But like that gets tired if that person isn't solution-based towards an end. And Ryan is a solution-based person. So the second part of Ryan's personality that we can all appreciate is like, you have a problem, I will fix it. You need something done, I will do it. I will get it done and I will fix it. So there's always a solution to his personality.
Quick example of Scott actually? So I was making this content on socials, and I was copying it from a guy named Ron Butler. Ron starts every single thing with, holy fuck, we're all fucked, the world's ending. And he gets crazy engagement. And I was, for some reason, doing that and having engagement. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing great. And Scott called me. He's like, why are you so negative all the time? He's like, no one wants to sell a house if you're here. No one sold a house. Everything's terrible in the market. We're all fucked. And I thought about it, and I'm coachable, and I'm like, he's exactly correct. I'm telling true things, except I'm framing them wrong. I should be saying it's tough out there, but it's not tough out there for us, because I am an amazing agent and I'm having a great time. So I totally changed my content. Engagement went down, except all of a sudden everyone's like, I need to sell my house. I need to sell my house. So it turned out great just by framing it differently. Thank you, Scott, for that.
No, I love that. And the thing is, Ryan, too, is now Ryan walks around more joyful as a human being. So like Jamie, his spouse, is way more beneficial or is benefited by that. His brother, his family, his friends, me as a colleague, as a partner of his, like I'm benefited because he is a more positive, joyful person, which was his natural disposition. Now, on that Butler Mortgage comment, Ron is an entertainer. So like he is very entertaining in that. And yes, he has a negative spin and he drops F-bombs every third word, but he's very entertaining. So that is why his channel does really well. Now, we can be entertaining, but we also want to be a solution-based, positive real estate team. And individually, we will do more business that way than not. Also, the mortgage business gets paid very, very well on refinance and down markets. So just keep that in mind as well. So he gets paid very, very well, Mr. Butler, in a down market. Whereas real estate agents, we tend to get paid better in high markets. Okay, let me finish this off and then we're going to keep on sharpening one another. So every office, every market, every industry eventually separates into two groups. Got a spam call coming in, which I am rejecting. And now I'm going back to my presentation. That's the only downside of doing everything on my phone. All right. Every office, every market, every industry eventually separates into two groups. The people spreading fear and the people spreading belief, or I would say solution-based options. The second group usually builds the biggest future. So can you make noise? Can you get a ton of interactions? Can you, like I heard that the world is ending tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to get a whole bunch of people attracted to that channel. I believe that there's an atomic bomb that's going to be dropped by one of the major countries in the world this week. Okay, that's going to get a ton of attention. But we're talking about this week. I'm talking about the next 6 months, the next year, the next 2 years, the next 3 years, the next 5 years. am I still following? I'm not even going to use an example here, but during COVID, there was a lot of people that were doomsday scenario, and I latched on. I am not following those channels anymore. I have no idea where those people are, but they were very, very, very noisy and got a ton of attention when toilet paper was running out in the supermarkets. I don't know where they are today, but I'll tell you who I still follow now: the people that have thriving businesses that are optimistic about the economy or trying to figure out solutions in a hard economy. I'm all over those channels. So their future was more successful than the doomsday channels that attracted a ton of attention. Okay, so the second group usually builds the biggest future. That is going to be us. So be the optimist in the room. That's your takeaway. It's 2:18. Okay, let's break out of this teaching topic and let's get into some real situations. All right. Who's got a situation right now that we can actually, oh, Paul's on the call. Nice. Okay. Andrew, Jordan, Ryan, Alyssa, Danielle, who wants to drop something in there? Let's work it out. Solution-based exercise. So there's issues out there. We're not fake and phony. We're not pretending like they're not. Andrew, anybody else, if there's a problem out there, throw it into the middle. Let's find a solution to it.
I have a problem.
Problem bomb, Ryan.
Okay. I have a client who has a dog, and the dog is in the garage all day, every day, and it uses that as its bathroom. I've got feedback from 10 agents saying that the house smelled so bad they couldn't even go in. My client, every time I try to talk about it, says, these people are fucking stupid. I'm in the house. It doesn't smell. So I'm trying to positively explain to this guy that his house smells like stuff.
All right, somebody go. Solution-based thinkers. What's the solution? Are we all stumped by Ryan's poop?
No one's got anything for me.
Jordan's got something. Paul's got something.
Offer to send his dog to boot camp with yours, Ryan.
Is like putting air fresheners or something in that capacity in the area, at least something. Is he doing anything to help mitigate the smell, or is he just letting it rot?
So I want you guys to imagine the worst thing that you've ever smelled and then heat it up to about 100 degrees and leave it in the sun. It's a smell like you've never, it's unbelievably bad. Air fresheners is not the answer on this.
Fun story for you. And I think maybe at least one person on this call knows this smell. So I walked into a house, and this was in Milton, and I was walking through the house. I was going to list it for sale, and I think it was for sale through a law firm or something like that. And it was such a distinct smell, but I'd never smelt it before. And it was like very, very pungent, potent. And I remember thinking, like, what was that smell? I couldn't pin my finger on it. I had no idea what it was. And I started thinking, like, did like an animal die on the wall, or was it like old urine from years ago? Like, it was very, very pungent. And actually what had happened was someone had died in the home like a month or 2 months before, and nobody knew. It was just like more of a recluse human being. And I was not told this before I went in. Suffice to say, like, it is a very interesting smell. And they had to bring in, it was like a $15,000 job, these like crazy air conditioning units and all this vacuum stuff, and like suck out the air. And it was unbelievable. So I'm just saying, Ryan, I have smelt worse than, has anyone ever smelt that smell before? I don't know how to articulate what it is, but it is really bad. Danielle has smelt it. Paul has smelt it.
I sold the house, similar scenario. We had to bring in ozone machines and repaint everything.
Machines,
yeah, it was a big to do.
Yep, it is gross. But anyways, solution-based response for Ryan, I would say, I think that coming at him with a price, that's where I would take it, Ryan, is I would say, I really feel like you're going to lose $50,000 because the dog smell feedback is continuous and it's repetitive. And I feel like if we can get rid of that, I can probably sell this home for a lot more than you would otherwise get. And if that doesn't clinch it for him, then yeah, I mean, what about it's nicer weather now. Would he put a big leash on and leave him outside for the day?
He probably would. And this is a referral from John Van Geest. So I really want to do a great job on it too. So I'm trying to pull
Why
out
did he refer it? I'm just curious.
Norfolk.
And he didn't want to go to Norfolk. It's a listing?
Yep.
He knew it smelled bad.
Interesting. Maybe is the guy way out to lunch, like his price expectations?
Nope, it's priced accurately. I don't think he drives that far, and seems to be having a good time hanging out by the pool. I love John.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Okay, so let's talk about, you raised something that I want to talk about there. So Ryan says it seems to be priced right. Okay, so that was our last coaching call. Is that so? What is actually? This is where I think our issue is, and I don't think Ryan has this issue, but I think it's an issue in our industry. What is it priced at today?
We are priced at $525,000.
Okay, and what do you think it will sell for? Sold price.
Okay, so if I could get the smell out, I could bring them 515,000. I've already had people say, if you get the smell out, I will pay you that, but I'm not offering until this. And the guy doesn't seem like he cares. He paid a lot. He bought in 2021. I think he paid $550, so he's losing on it. But he just doesn't seem that motivated to do anything. He has to sell. He just he seems to think that people should be able to see past it.
Do you think there's a financial situation in the background that you don't fully have transparency on?
Very
do you
possible.
think he's got some mortgages? Yeah, that's what I think is happening a lot right now. I think that there's a lot of people that aren't giving us the full story, and so they're not dropping for the simple reason that, like, this is a fictitious example, but let's say this guy owes $500,000 to a mortgage, and he's listed for $515, and he's like, I don't care if I sell. I mean, I have to sell, but I can't take any less than $515. And the truth is because he thinks he can't pay off the mortgagee unless he sells for a certain number. I actually think there's a lot of people in that position right now. And the reason I bring it up is to say this. Just know that if you can get any of that information out of somebody, the misunderstanding is that we can't sell the house because the house is underwater. So there's the problem I'm going to throw into the middle of the room. And he had to leave. Jeff, are you still on the call? Jeff's a mortgage broker as well. So what's the solution to that problem? Like someone, and agents, we're all guilty of this too. The guy can't sell. He's underwater. He doesn't have enough money to pay out the mortgages and pay the commissions. I hear this all the time. What is actually the answer to that?
Well, yeah, you can obviously get lawyer review, and the lender generally doesn't, obviously, they're not in the business of wanting to take properties over. So, I mean, depending on what it is, like they may work with them, they may take a little bit less, they may, I don't know, depending on where they're going, it could be a refinance somewhere else. Like there's lots of options actually that people don't figure out, right? And then there's also times where people have the first mortgage and they throw a second on there too, right? And like, so the first one it may show up, but then the second one's what kills them, right? But a lot of the time they can negotiate and probably take less because they don't want it to go through 10 months of power sale either, right?
Yep. Let me walk this through for all of you on this call. I'm going to make you a force to be reckoned with regards to understanding financing on homes. Okay. This is a very, very golden nugget. So if somebody is underwater, which is true for a lot of people right now, absolutely he can sell his house. Absolutely he can sell his house. Has to be under 2-day seller's lawyer review, conditional on seller's lawyer review. As long as you go to the right lawyer, and we have the right lawyer for you or lawyers for you, that lawyer goes to the mortgagee on title. Do you think that the mortgagee is generally sophisticated or unsophisticated, generally speaking? They're usually investors. They're usually sophisticated people. So they usually have an investor profile. So we're dealing with sophisticated business people most of the time. And that person has two options, essentially. He can accept what that house sold for, or what's the second option?
They take it over.
They take it over and do what? They take it
Power
over
sale.
and try to sell the house.
Yeah.
So think about this from a logical perspective. If you're dealing with a sophisticated person and you say, sir or ma'am, you have two choices, which he already knows or she already knows. Your first choice is you can accept what the house is sold for today. Your second choice is you can take possession of it and you can go sell it. Now, that process is currently taking 6 months to a year in some cases because there's so many backlogged in the system, so in the courts right now. And that lender, mortgagee, it could be TD, could be CIBC, could be anybody, could be Bob. That person is not getting paid for the next 6 months to a year while he's going through the court systems. Also, the costs of going through the court systems with a lawyer are significant. So he is actually taking money out of his own pocket. If he was owed $500 and now he needs to go spend $80,000 to take a power of sale through lawyers and missing carrying costs and all that, now he's down to $420. So do you see how easy it is to go to the lender and say, ma'am, sir, I know you're owed $500. I sold the house for $435. Do you want it, or do you want to just take power of possession yourself? You get it now? It's that simple. Like that person is going to take the sale every single time, unless they feel like you undersold at some crazy low price and they can build, $80,000 in equity overnight, which is usually not the case. The other thing I want to say is, to Jeff's point, if there's a second mortgagee, that does create a problem for the seller, because the seller may be able to negotiate with the first mortgagee and maybe that guy takes 80 cents on the dollar, but it wipes out the second. What can be done as a solution-based solution for the for that sale to go through? Anybody know what can be done in that case? This only helps the first mortgagee really, but there is a solution to still get that done. The seller sells it, conditional on seller lawyer review, goes to the lawyer. Lawyer says, okay, I've worked out a deal with the first guy, but there's no money to pay the second guy. So that actually would stop the seller from being allowed to continue down that road. Okay. But what happens in that case is the buyer goes directly to the first mortgagee. Now they're all in touch. The lawyers are all in touch. The buyer goes directly to the first mortgagee, takes the seller off of the paperwork, puts the mortgagee on the paperwork, and they just sell it directly. And that's how it works. So again, we are a solution-based company. We are solution-based agents, and we are always optimistic. I would also say, lesson on today's call is try not to be in a second position mortgage in this market if possible. That's a really bad position to be in this market. All right. I don't want to take more time than needed. Anybody else want to throw a problem into the middle of the pot? And we are going to be a solution-based, positive, optimistic team that gets things done. Who's got one?
I got one. All right. So I went to a listing consultation, 26-acre hobby farm. I try to paint the picture. It's a farmhouse, run down. They've repurposed rooms. They've got an outbuilding that's just absolutely full of everything. So literally the opposite of what I would want for putting a property on the MLS. So and the people that would be selling are they're getting up there in the years. So it's not like they're physically able to do all the work. So I'm trying to figure out how I get this property in a position to get maximum dollar for them.
Well, to me, it sounds like one solution is an investor offer. And I know you said maximum dollar, but there is a maximum dollar investor offer. There is a maximum dollar larger audience. They might be well suited for a maximum dollar investor offer, right? So like we're literally trying to get them the most we can through an investor line. That would be a really good solution in this case, because I feel like the open market's going to discount that property just as well. With the state that it's in. So talk to me offline about that, Andrew, if you want, or any other investors that you know. The second thing I would say is that if they have any cash, you could actually charge a consultant fee or a management fee. It has to get paid through the brokerage, just so you know. So as agents, I don't know if you know that, but you are all allowed to charge fees that are not commission-based fees. But it needs to get, so to be RICO compliant, it has to get paid through the brokerage. and you would literally just pay a management fee on managing the junk removal and the whatever. Put it as a trade in reason. Could do that as well. Those are my two solutions. Anybody else got something?
I mean, you could always help them find an auction service that would come in and clear out the outbuilding and things like that. Get things taken away for sale at an auction, or even just junk removal services. Help facilitate that.
My feeling is, Andrew, like, go ahead.
No, I do have a stager now because I've had a few of these situations where they're older people and they need to move. So she's kind of streamlined her business. So there's the staging part and then the decluttering, packing, and they kind of just throw it into 3 boxes. It's like your sure keepers, you're not sure, and your junk. And then they'll just come in, they'll sticky the whole house, and then you kind of sort it down. And then from there, they can just move their stuff to wherever they're going. The not sures, they kind of sort through the junk and just get rid of.
Do you not think that they just want someone to come in and buy it as is?
Ideally, absolutely. But it's like the outbuildings are not small, right? Like it's got a big barn on it, which isn't as big of a problem, but the outbuilding is the big one because it's literally packed. So
I think that you would find a buyer. You would find a buyer to say, look, it's where is, or at least as is. So maybe it's not where is, but it is as is. And the sellers that's the best solution for your client. You say to the client, I'm going to find you a buyer. You can take what you want and leave the rest. Leave all the crap in the barns, take what you want, as long as you're out by a closing date. And I have that buyer, and we will find that buyer. Now, obviously, that property is going to sell for a lower amount than if it was fully, emptied and staged and beautiful. But like to go to A to Z sounds like it's not ideal for those clients. It sounds like it would be a complete disaster for them. And I would just give them the 2 choices and say, look, if we go to A to Z, I can get you a little bit more money. If we don't, and you just want to leave everything there, I'll find a buyer to just assume the property the way that it is. You can take what you want. That's actually the solution I think they would go for, because it's the right solution for this particular situation. And that is an investor offer. It's an investor line. And we can talk about it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Anybody else? Three, 2, 1, fun. All right. Be positive, be solution based, encourage one another. Really love these calls and appreciate all of you. Have a great day.